before I get on to the issue of Main Street parking. The road is a major thoroughfare for drivers coming into Bethlehem from Interstate 78 and the Hellertown, Lower Saucon Township area, as well as a main route to Lehigh University's Mountaintop campus. That's the Globe Times description of South Mountain Drive, a project that's being funded by Community Development Block Grant money, of which I raised an issue last year, whether it was eligible or not. If that description, which is an accurate description of South Mountain Drive, or Mountain Drive, smacks or suggests low mod income benefit, everybody in this room was raised by wolves. It's not eligible. Second thing I wanted to mention was the tree grades. Evidently property owners on the south side at least, because I talked to one of them today, have been ordered to get the tree grades level with the ground. They're a tripping hazard. Some of them are planning and actually have removed them. They were installed with public dollars. Hopefully they're landing on city property and not being discarded of. Third item, the hill-to-hill bridge ramp. Probably the best example of uneconomic development this city has seen in some time. Another business lost to the city of Bethlehem. Now on to Main Street parking. Been a lot of discussion tonight, and I think I'm not even sure where to start, but I do want to compliment Bruce Haynes on his observation. There's still a parking issue down there. And to take that money and throw it anywhere else but at that issue is akin to you play by my rules or I take my ball home with me. Let's do something about the parking at that end of Main Street. And the Main Street ramp, or the hill-to-hill bridge ramp that comes into Main Street, certainly is a viable alternative. I think it's really interesting that lately we've had a rooftop beach party on the North Street parking deck promoting the excess amounts of parking our wonderful city has. I guess there's another event coming up to kind of do the same thing. Promote the wonderful excess of parking that our wonderful city has. You know, if you go to the Lehigh Valley Mall, you'll park maybe 100, 150, 200 feet, depending on how the parking's situated that day away from the entrance. You'll go inside and you'll walk a quarter of a mile in one direction and a quarter of a mile in another direction. I've never, ever not found parking in a parking garage downtown. Tonight I had dinner downtown. Plenty of parking in the Walnut Street garage. I had a number of notes sent my direction while I was sitting up here knowing that I still had an opportunity to speak. One person very concerned about the interest in assessing costs back to people who maybe caused the city some expense. Well, I would suggest to you that for every dollar that's ever been wasted by city government, state government, and federal government, you owe us a ton of money. So the very thought that you would want to assess any costs absorbed by the city is ludicrous. Another note, the words smugness and arrogance violated Robert's Rule of Order. I don't think there was any smugness or arrogance throughout this entire process. What there was the failure to cross T's, dot I's, and get the public involved. Because had the public been involved from the start and weighed in on this issue, we may have never gotten to this point. I appreciate that the project's been withdrawn, but I also believe that the issue still needs to be resolved. And that money could be the key. Just want to check my notes because I wrote so many down. The CDBG funding should be transferred into unprogrammed funds. And I also want to point one other thing out as a photographer. It just wasn't the view across Main Street. And the artist's rendition tonight almost gave me the feeling that I was hovering several feet above the ground, looking over towards the smithy. But there was also, there's another important vista, and that's the vista from down below. When you're standing on the wooden bridge that crosses the Monocacy and where you can now see Main Street. There's so many issues, and I know my time's run out.
Thank you.
I need a pillow for my back. Another time, guys, 321 West 4th Street. It's very ironic today, Mayor Callahan. You took lemons and made lemonade. The fact of the matter is some people don't like lemonade. I find it very, very discouraging that when a member of council makes a comment, a statement, a suggestion, that he or she is laughed at. That is the ultimate insult in the democratic society. Everyone in this room is entitled to his or her opinion. No one is entitled to be snickered at or sneered at because you disagree with their opinion. Now, we are talking about parking on South Main Street. How about parking in other areas of the city? You're talking about parking on the Hill-to-Hill Bridge, which would require you to walk perhaps two, 3 city blocks. You can walk from the Hotel Bethlehem to the parking garage in just the same amount of time. Perhaps what we need to do is to publicize what we already have and not worry so much about what we have yet to accomplish. There is no way that putting a parking space in front of any building will guarantee you a customer in your business. People will go to hell for something that they want, provided, of course, that they can walk back out of hell. But is parking really the main issue here, or is the preservation of what we have in history the more important consideration? That's a matter of opinion. I lost a Victorian home many years ago to a parking lot for a church. It's 30 years later, I have yet to see God drive a car. Explain that to me. The South Side was raped by Lehigh University and Bethlehem Steel. We're still there. The South Side isn't going anywhere, and neither are the South Siders. We like it because that's why we live there. So what is happening here is a microcosm of what is happening in the world today. We are more interested in serving our own personal interests and less interested in preserving that which is important to the world, to our community. If you're going to preserve anything worthwhile, how about preserving people like me who have lived through World War, Vietnam War, Korean War, Iraq War, Afghanistan War, 112 days strikes at Bethlehem Steel where our parents did not get paid, and we survived, and we sent our children to college, and we made lives for ourselves. What is the most important element to survive? The human mind, the human memory. A relic is a relic is a relic. A pottery is exactly that. A pottery sitting here without somebody to tell you what it is, where it came from, what it means to the community is another piece of junk. Not to me, and probably not to you. The important question in front of council is, what is the most important thing to serve the needs of the community of Bethlehem? Is it to provide parking? Is it to provide preservation? And I still cry when I go past Rockville Junior High School. We tore down a treasure, a national treasure, an AWA architectural accomplishment. So just think before you say things that you say what you mean. But remember, without memory, without a mind, nothing is important in this life.
Thank you.